You are inside the studio with Powertex. Welcome to the Mixed Media podcast for artists, crafters, and adventurous creators. This podcast is for you if your creativity cannot be defined by any label, and where the only limit here is your imagination. I'm Michelle Brewer, Creative Director at Powertex UK. Now let's talk all things Powertex, mixed media, and creativity. Hello, you are inside the studio with me. I'm Michelle, Creative Director at Powertex UK, and today we're talking about Blue Monday. Because today is Blue Monday, which is apparently the most depressing day of the year. So we've got a lovely, cheerful subject to kick the week off with. Now, I don't want you to be thinking, should I be feeling depressed? Because Blue Monday is actually a marketing ploy. It was just a marketing thing. It's a myth. Now, there's no doubt that there are more cheerful days. But, with the financial strain for some of us after Christmas, the cold and the damp weather, some of us may have failed on resolutions. I'm not having that though. So if you're there thinking, I have failed on any resolution, we're only 19 days in. Stop it. You've got the rest of the year to pick those resolutions up. You haven't failed. You can't. It's not possible. We are 3 weeks in. Even if your resolution was to exercise every day in January, there are still more days. There's still 11 days left of the month? You haven't failed. I have been a bit low myself. This is always a bit of a low point for me because I have 2 months of relentless pressure and expectations. I've got a child whose birthday is 3 weeks before Christmas and one who is 3 weeks after Christmas. And it just feels like 2 months of obviously Christmas in between. And I've had a lot going on. I haven't been surrounding myself with the right kind of people to encourage me and lift me up. And then I did at the weekend. I had the most amazing weekend. I was training tutors in the Easy 3D Flex training. It's a practical course. We get the Powertex out. We have an amazing time. And that's what I really love to do. So it was a double whammy for me. One, that I was doing something creative, which is a great mood lifter. It's so good for you. It's excellent mental exercise. And the other thing is, it's not just the creating. I'm teaching people how to teach Powertex workshops, how to run Powertex workshops. And that, for me, that's what really fulfills me. It was such a good thing to do. And I got beautiful feedback. But we had a laugh. We had a great time. Everyone really enjoyed themselves. We all learned something. So I always learn, even though I'm teaching and the facilitator of these workshops, I also learn myself. So creativity is a really big deal when it comes to low mood. And I've just got some tips for you. This is a short episode today because I don't want to dwell on depressing things. But I do want to talk about the link between creativity and lifting your mood. So Powertex, of course, it's not the answer to everything, but it's the answer to a lot. So here are 3 things. I'm going to share 3 things to make when you're feeling low or not in the mood. Maybe creativity is the answer. You need to go and create something, but you don't know what to do. Very hard, actually. If you're feeling depressed, not just low mood, especially if you're feeling very depressed and you just can't do anything or you don't want to do anything, but doing a bit of creating might just give you a little lift when you need it. I know how hard it is to just even think about what to do. So here are 3 things I recommend making when you're feeling blue. And then afterwards, I'm going to tell you what not to do. So first, make clay. Make some clay. So with Powertex in our product range, we make our own air dry clay. We have 3 different products to do this, to choose from. So number 1 is stone art powder. And all you have to do is mix that with Powertex. So you have stone art powder and then you pour Powertex in. It can be any of the Powertex colours, and that goes for all of these. And you create a beautiful air dry clay. You can use Power Smooth, which gives you a more porcelain-like finish. And you can choose Easy 3D Flex, which is a lovely stretchy clay that crackles on finish. But the physical act of making the clay, get your hands in. You can wear gloves if you want to, you'll still benefit from this. But it's physical, it's moving, it doesn't require any thinking, really. It's something that you can do with your hands, and that in itself is quite therapeutic. So just squeezing the clay. Oh, just thinking about squeezing some clay. Love it. You can press into it. You can make shapes and then squish it all up again. The expectation here is that you're going to make some clay. Then you can wrap it up. You can wrap it in cling film. You can pop it into an airtight container and just keep it until you are ready to use it or on a project or make something specific with it. But that physical act of the mixing, the kneading, we knead it like a dough. So even if you're not a baker, you can definitely make air dry clay. There's no baking involved. So it's just mixing those 2 ingredients. Choose your powder, choose your Powertex color, mix them together. And that's my number 1 suggestion. So number 2 would be to create a water pot. So if you want to do some fabric sculpting or you want to make something, this is my go-to every time. I just go back to making a water pot. They are so easy to do. So you need a jar. That's it, a glass jar, any old recycled jar. Or if you haven't got a jar, you can upcycle a bottle. Anything you can get your hands on. You could do a flower pot. But if you've just got an old jar, I never throw jars out. I've always got sun-dried tomato jars kicking around. I've got millions of them. And I use them for Powertex. You can just fabric sculpt around that jar. And it's so easy. You could do several if you wanted. They could be next year's Christmas presents or giveaways. Who doesn't love a pencil pot or a water pot? They're so easy to make. And if you're feeling blue, you need something easy. Your brain doesn't want to be overworked to the point where it's overwhelmed. But you do want the joy of creating something. So I recommend a water pot. And then as you're making it feels lovely, getting the Powertex out, dipping your fabric into the Powertex, wrapping it around the jar. It's really satisfying. Feels nice. And you can just put it to one side, leave it to dry. It doesn't require you to overthink it. If you want to do more, so sometimes you might wrap all of that fabric around the jar and then you're thinking, oh, I want to do some more. You can just stick things to it. So you can find some embellishments or add some the 3D sand and balls. There's lots of texture to it. But the core water pot is there and it's just easy. So my third one, now this is, if you want to make something, but you don't want to make a water pot, you don't want to make any clay, you want to do something, you want to create something, but we're going back to that, no pressure, no overthinking. Create a base layer of a painting or a mixed media piece of work. And what I mean by that is, so you either get a journal or a canvas. It could be a piece of wood. It could be something 2D and flat. It could be a panel board. It could be an old canvas that you found in a charity shop. So basically, we're talking a picture type of thing. It could even be an old box. give it a coat of Powertex and spray it with either Bista or Liquid Power. So these are Liquid Power is our water-based liquid pigment, and Bista is our walnut ink. Spray it onto your wet Powertex and then blow it with the hairdryer. So you can use a heat tool, but a hairdryer is a bit less aggressive. If you're feeling blue, you don't want to be just mindlessly pointing a heat tool at something. Apply the hairdryer heat, and then beautiful crackles appear. Now that is a piece of work in itself. That is a complete finished piece of work. Even if you don't love the whole thing, I defy you to hate it. You will find some gorgeous, beautiful little crackles. Won't be the same all over the canvas. It's impossible. There'll be different spots. You can do layers of that. You might look at it and think, nah, I want to do more. So that's just layer one, and you can keep going over and over. This is a really simple, easy project to do, but very satisfying. So you will have accomplished something. You will have completed a project if you fancy doing that. So they're my 3 things. Make some clay, create a water pot or a pencil pot, or do a base layer of a painting. 3 things not to do, just very quickly. Do not go on Pinterest. I love Pinterest. I'm not anti-Pinterest. I love Pinterest. But if you are feeling blue, you need to move. You need to get up. You need to do something. You can get lost in Pinterest for 2 hours and you've achieved nothing. So you go down rabbit holes of looking. We tell ourselves we are looking for inspiration to start the project. But really, you're just procrastinating and you're just doom scrolling. So don't do that. Stay off Pinterest. Just for this, stay off Pinterest and go and do any one of those projects. You don't need to look those up. This one might be a bit controversial, but I don't think you ought to go and do any dry brushing. So dry brushing is where you are finishing your piece of work using the dry brushing technique with colour. So mixing with easy varnish and pigment, dry brushing on your piece of work. The reason I don't recommend this when you're feeling blue is I think that you need to be on the ball, and it's really easy to mess up your piece of work at this stage by just choosing the wrong colours, and then you will feel worse. That's it. It's nothing deeper than that. I just think that dry brushing, it needs your full attention. And if you're feeling blue, it's not the time. Unless you've already got all of your colours decided, you know exactly what you're doing, then it's quite a mindful task to do, and it's quite nice. That's the only caveat there. If you already know, if you're confident in your colour choices, then you may go and do some dry brushing. But if you're not sure, you haven't decided, now is not the time. And then kind of in that same theme, the third do not do, my recommendation, is don't do anything fiddly or intricate. So that, by that I mean anything that demands a difficult armature build. It's nice to get lost. I think it's really nice to get lost in creativity, and so your mind is distracted and you're absorbed in your work. But there's a fine line, isn't there, between being absorbed in your work and being frustrated and unable to lose yourself in the work because you've got to concentrate too hard on what you're doing. And so that's why I've recommended quite simple projects to do. We can explore those further if you like. I can do some little demos for easy projects to do, but just don't do anything too involved. Even if you've got a tutorial to follow with difficult projects, it's nice to be guided. But if you have to concentrate too much, then kind of defeats the object. That's the end of my Blue Monday talk. So it is a marketing ploy. Remember that. If you are feeling blue, I get it. And I don't just save my blue feelings for Blue Monday either. Like, there are ups and downs throughout the year. But I think in the winter it can be quite difficult. We have a Facebook group called the PowerTech Studio. It's quite quiet this month, and it's a private group, but everybody is welcome to join, and it's a great place to share. I highly recommend sharing things if you're feeling, and it's okay to say that I'm feeling a bit low. This is my clay. This is my angry clay. This is the clay I made when I was angry. This is my Blue Monday clay. This is my Blue Monday blister crackle painting. You could do that. I'd love to see those. I hope you are not feeling too blue. Remember, it's a marketing ploy. We are here. Get the PowerTechs out. I would love to know what you're making. I'd love to know what you're up to. Let me know what you think of Blue Monday. And I will be back next week with another episode. Take care. Bye-bye.